Hello, I'm Agent Green with the Good Band Plan, and I'm talking like I don't normally talk. This is not a video, that's a music video, be forewarned, in case that's what you were looking for. You may have come to the wrong place. But with that said, part of my shtick, is, rather cheap classical guitar. So it's a prop, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna sing you songs, sing you songs, sing you songs, sing you songs. All right. Now this is more about this whole sort of environment we're living in, and I think I'm not alone when if you're trying to figure out what's going on, sort of behind the scenes, and realizing that some scary stuff going on. And the thing that's really got me sort of thinking harder, if you will, looking harder, and simultaneously probably more information being available to us in regarding, say, for example, the genocide that's going on. So that's a sort of trigger point for me, and then that's made me look harder into other things. And the algorithm of YouTube, thankfully, is bringing me things that I'm interested in seeing, because it's not misinformation, you know, it's not advertisement on any of it, really. I always hit like and subscribe to the ones I like, just to help their algorithm. But, and pretty much I do that on all the ones I watch, because it seems like, I'm getting the real news from the real places, from, maybe News Inside of Lebanon, news, just around the world. A lot of it's European. It seems us Americans aren't the main source of the real information, and that's because we're all brainwashed, frankly. And I'm not just saying that. We are. I'm finding myself. This is sort of one of the things. Is I've got my friend who's a Trumper, if you will. And, it's because I figured it out. It's because they're all under mass psychosis. This is due to YouTube's sort of ability for me to see some videos that need to be seen. And yeah, the brainwashing is a real thing. And then, certainly wasn't his case. And I was actually, I'm brainwashed too. And, not thinking that I'm really brainwashed. And then, I've been trying to unravel those layers of brainwashing. That's what I've been trying to do this last couple of weeks. It's kind of like, if you follow anything, then you try and find the truth, if you will. It seems like more of the truth is, we're all subject to the feed, all right? Like the news feed, wherever that's coming from. Whether it's social media, what you're watching on social media has influence on how you think, okay? What I watch on TV has influence on how I think. If I'm watching Steve Colbert, funny guy, I get sort of my news from him as much as anybody, or a confirmation of. It's all brainwashing. Steve Colbert works for a major news outlet, and he's giving you the Democrat narrative, but they're all under one uniparty thing that has nothing to do with politicians, or just puppets. That's basically that in a nutshell. That's not what this video is about. But we are basically all puppets, if you will. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's extremely scary. So understanding what this is more about is trying to unpeel the layers, because things I've said weeks ago when I started doing videos. That's more like my diary. This is like my diary, all right? Welcome to look at it. I'm not hiding my diary. So when I started doing this, I'll use the Matt Gaetz narrative, who's going to be Attorney General at that point. This could be 20 years from now. You can look him up. But he, and I was already, I had an opinion about Matt Gaetz, all right, and it wasn't a good one. And I don't think that's off base that much, to be honest with you. He's not a great guy. But he's kind of the sort of prime example of what I've always thought, and what obviously is there, and a whole lot of people think it's the honeypot thing, where they've been compromised through sex, through a sexual encounter, preferably with an underage girl that shows her ID. So in other words, something like that, to say that that's possible, obviously it's possible. I mean, especially if you look at who the ally of the oligarch, if you will, the uniclass thing that controls everything in the United States. That's the same thing, entity that has like the Pentagon in it, CIA, NSA, all your major corporations, super big corporations, your big banks, all that, conglomerate of power, really, that just seems to be on board with, if you study neoliberalism, which is something that's sort of come up, and it's all based on that, and that's on both sides of the aisle. Neoconservative, I think those two are basically the same thing. It's only one thing, so it's all this sort of ultra, what both of those sort of indicate is sort of about money, and that money is everything. It's God, and to hell with what happens. You just need to get more of it. Doesn't matter if you're stepping on the people, stepping on your friends, stepping on your family. Nothing matters. It's just getting the money. So that's sort of the whole. So if you see what's right now, it doesn't matter if you commit genocide to steal lands to hopefully take over the whole Middle East so that you capture all the oil. That's what that's all about. And your Zionist sort of alliance with Israel, being the United States. This is the major players in the world right now that's disrupting the world. We're the bad guys. Israel and the United States are the bad guys. Moscow, Putin, yeah, thumbs up. I liked your speech the other day. It's like, so my whole head's gone topsy-turvy. I've been told Putin's, the evil one all along, like everyone else, and like everyone else still believes, for the most part. I've definitely done an about-face on who's the real bad guy, and we are. The United States and Israel. There's only two bad guys really in the whole world. If they just changed their tune, the world would be an infinitely better place and an infinitely less dangerous place. Because the only ones that are threatening nuclear bombs right now is the fucking United States. And that's, so if that ever comes to fruition, it's because of the sort of oligarchy that runs things here in our own country, which, it's just terrifying. It's disgusting. It's not what the people of America certainly want. And we are their enemy, okay? That's what you got to realize. Yeah, Russia's their enemy. The Middle East is their enemy. Everybody's their enemy unless you happen to be a Zionist, whatever. You can be a Christian too, not just Jew. We'll have our little club here. So it's and killing everybody and everything is just fine, including your own citizens. Trust me. So we're next. All right, the citizens of the United States, whether they like Trump or they like Biden or like nobody, we're all next. We're all going to be the victims of this horrendous sort of regime that rules all of us, and that we're so brainwashed we don't even know it's there. It's sort of the natural way of things. Go America, rah rah. Let's invade Iraq. It's just so you know, I was against that big time. I said, we don't start wars back then, you know what I mean? Because we knew a lot, it's like a year before he invaded Iraq, he was telling Iraq he was going to invade it. And that's when I'm like, what the F? What are we, who, yeah, we had 9/11. Okay. Horrible thing. Find the bad guys. Meanwhile, it was already clear to us that the bad guys were getting free plane rides back to friggin' Saudi Arabia. So, on planes, right out of Massachusetts, right next town over from where I was living at the time. Yeah, the Bin Ladens were, here. Nobody could fly. except the bin Ladens. They could fly. So isn't that a little weird? Just that alone, if you just look at that one thing. And, that when I was never a conspiracy theorist, but, even back then, it's like, why are these guys get to with bin Laden was I don't know. It's just, if it wasn't real, it could not possibly be true. One of those things, like stranger than fiction, What's going on in our world right now. And it certainly shows you how a lot of human beings don't have any soul. I mean, the people running things, you mean less than a bug to them, all right? Their idea is to just make things collapse in a horrible way. Ideally, if you had COVID and were dying, that would be great, especially if you're old. I think this sort of, if you can think of evil, the most evil things, let's bring in pedophilia so that the super rich can just, impregnate all the young ones, and then, the old ones could be exterminated at such and such age, And no abortion's allowed because we need to have this, It's just like, everywhere is Epstein Island, as far as, so they'll come and take your children, the young right girls. I mean, this sounds sick. I should write a novel of that, but it's like a possibility. It could be little robot dogs coming to your door, put a little leash on her. It's because the possibilities with these little robots, land robots, the little doggy things coming out of Boston Engineering or whatever, and way more terrifying, and things that are here in real time, real life right now, and being used aggressively against people is drones, weaponized drones. And they're buzzing them intentionally just to sort of terrorize people. And the country doing that is Israel, yes, but they're just the arm of the United States. They're the SS of the United States, and the correlations between Nazi Germany and the United States right now are beyond terrifying, and right in our face. Especially when you start looking for it. If you're just walking around like Joe Biden, you're oblivious to everything. But he's cognizant enough to give $30 billion, and just to give you the time frame I'm in, not too long ago, to Israel for arms. Not that the people of our country that should be getting any the $30 billion. It's much wiser to give it to a genocidal sort of, that's in our face too. Just go online, you can see anything about you want to see young kids getting their arms amputated without any aesthetic, just jump online. So, kids burning to death, piles of human bodies, and they're all trapped in this little cage called Gaza. And they're told, go over here, and then they'll fire them, and there's snipers there. It's like a game. It's like a video game for the Israeli, the IDF? So it's the army for Israel, in case you don't know. So they're a terrorist, gangster, criminal entity, organization, if there ever was one. And their lobbyists in Washington are arguably the strongest by far and away lobby group and most influential. So you have a Zionist sort of environment in Washington, D.C., and it's in conjunction with a terrorist organization called the CIA that we have. So CIA is a terrorist organization. Okay, we had 12 CIA bases around Ukraine before the Ukraine war, and Russia probably didn't like that. Jeez, would we like to have 12 Russian, KGB things surrounding our border? Just put the shoe on the other foot, guys. So Putin, I watched the recent speech, and I'm not trying to, pat Putin on the back. He's done some pretty questionable things. Some of my other critics say, hey, maybe changes about your own people, but yeah, he's a better guy at the helm than what we have, and what we have now, and what we had in the past. Pick your flavor in America as far as what you get to pick from. They're both terrorist operations, be it the Democrats or Republicans, they look the other way when it comes to genocide, and that's just enough. That's just, you don't need to go on. There's a million other things, but that's enough. All right? If you believe that genocide's a bad thing, then you should start watching shit about that and reality, and that's what I'm gonna sort of be here to do. And so if you want to watch any future videos, I don't have any idea how to go forward with this. So I did a series of 16 videos. That was just sort of practice, if you will. Just sort of get my feet wet on making videos. And so I'll end it. Why we killed USA's engaged in mass murder. We sure are. We're engaged in mass murder. Why am I wearing this mask? You're wondering why I'm wearing this mask? You say, why is wearing this mask? I'm going to end with this, but facial recognition's a real thing, okay? So everybody it should be almost our identity to wear masks because I'm going to say this is sort of what my feeling is in general. I don't want to help the bad guys know who I am, so I think it's kind of funny. I was watching this sort of really interesting guy at a DEF CON conference. It was on video. I don't even know what DEF CON was a month ago. So anyways, this very interesting person was wearing a mask, and like, why are you wearing that? You don't have to be wearing that. Nobody else is wearing masks. So I'm like, he didn't say, but I'm gonna say it's because, and I think for him it's like almost mocking, like, facial recognition. I don't know. Maybe he's super afraid of viruses, which he should be, I suppose. Especially the COVID ones that get introduced to us by nefarious groups of people. That's a whole thing in itself. Everything kind of comes together, doesn't it? The brainwashing, which we are brainwashed. Okay, that's where it started, and that's where I'm always going to touch back on that, because you got to be aware that you're brainwashed. It's just, and it's all news feeds. So trying to get honest news. So I think that there should be an organization, not official, not LLC, nothing like that, just a group. And I thought a name for it, at least I'll offer my name, because it needs a name. Whoever names, I don't care. It's not like an organized thing. It's not going to be registered or anything like that. It's like the civil rights movement. Who named that? All right? So it's kind of a movement. I even thought, let's call it the movement. I've been trying to think last night. I was like, what could this name of this sort of, we all need to get together type of group to save our humanity and our lives. Because what's ruling the class right now is just terrifying. And somehow, some way, gotta get rid of it. Gotta get rid of all of it. America. I mean, we're next. I mean, as far as invasions, don't think there's powerful nations that are willing to come in and say, okay, that's enough, think again. And Russia gave us a little litmus test showing what the capabilities that they have, which is something America can't, with all its military might and greedy friggin' military industrial complex that just sucks the life out of our financial system and uses it to commit mass murder as we speak every day. Yeah, thanks. Pentagon, way to go. Wow, we're the biggest, baddest bullies on the block for sure. And hopefully we gotta be taken out somehow. Because I mean, this has a really bad ending if these guys are in control for the rest of our natural existence. And that's what they want to be. They want to be, we'll be the little peons that are expendable. And if you don't think it's going to get into that kind of dystopia, well, that's where we're headed, like super fast. So yeah, we got to rise up. we have to have a new civil rights movement as a human rights movement, for this humanity. And I think I'm gonna give a shout out to various people during these sort of things. I'm gonna try to keep it 20 minutes, which I'm on right now. I give a shout out to Roger Waters, Pink Floyd, mastermind musician, if there ever was one. I don't know, I'll come up next time. It's the 30 rights that were developed in 1948, shortly after World War II, that he says everybody should be aware of and look at. And I'm going to be putting that up next time, so it's a little teaser. But I think that should be there should be a new society created in America that's based on those 30 rights. It's almost like the Constitution, almost like, I don't know, one of the things should be the ability to reanalyze the Constitution itself for the good of the people, if you will, as opposed to for the good of whatever entity was writing it at the time. Whatever, I don't know. Constitution looks like a pretty good piece of document, but I think everything's got to be questioned. I think it's got to be a new society. I think the society itself should have no elections, but it should be totally democratic. It should be a lottery system, and anybody who wants to be, it should be stages. You start here up to the next level, if you will, from lower level government to, as it gets more and more to the federal level, if you will. Term limits. I have thoughts on that. I'll do that in a different video. Anyways, I already signed off, but I'll do it one more time. I hate CIA runs things. So yeah, the CIA is our enemy. It's their enemy for sure, but it's also our enemy in conjunction with everything else. The President of the United States, I just see, it can't do what he wants about the CIA, for example, or various government operations, including the Army itself. The military-industrial complex, in conjunction with billionaires, runs things. All right? And it's just like bankers and the whole 9 yards. It's all one little kit caboodle. And so Chuck Schumer, who was a senator back in 2016, is on video saying, hey, the president can't do what he wants. The CIA has six different ways of dealing with that. So it was a blunder on his part. But everybody in government is extremely worried that if they did a misstep, not working for them, instead of working for the people like they've been elected to do, they're all compromised, not just through fear that they could be assassinated like JFK or RFK, but Martin Luther King. I mean, those are all, we got the people did it, patsies, in every case. Those were hit jobs. I even think Trump's recent attempt was a hit job on the part of CIA. They're not going to do, something, they want the killer caught, you know what I mean? It's just how they get a killer to do this, Maybe they have some, whatever. It's all very calm. It's not transparent. Can I say that? All right, everybody, till next time. Oops, Peace Pro. It's not stopping. Yeah, that's great. Maybe it doesn't want to stop.